Hey guys, how's it going? I want to show you a game that's been around for a little bit, but it just became available on Steam a couple days ago, and it's really cool. The game has a crazy number of features and game modes, it's co-op, it's PvP, and it's a lot of fun. So the game's called Arcadegeddon, and I think the best way to describe it is a third-person cyberpunk looter shooter with roguelike elements. The cool thing is you can kind of play it more or less like a roguelike or more like a traditional shooter, so let me explain a little bit how it works. The gameplay loop is very roguelike. You go through stages completing various objectives while fighting off hordes of enemies. The enemies are pretty cool, there's a good enough variety, and they feel different for the most part. It forces you to pay a little bit of attention and deal with them in different ways. And you can deal with them in a lot of different ways because there are a lot of weapons in this game. From basic conventional weapons to ray guns and saw launchers, lots of explosives, melee weapons. Some weapons have different elemental effects, and it's cool too because the weapons each have a manufacturer, right? So for example, you could build around assault rifles, or you could build around elements, or you could build around the manufacturer and use both a rifle and a grenade launcher from that same manufacturer. The way you build those synergies is with another roguelike element. You've got your good old perk cards that you randomly acquire during the run. Pretty simple stuff, really just percentage increases, but it goes pretty deep with all the weapon variety. You can also sell the ones you don't want or use them to power up the ones you like, so that's a really nice way to get your build looking right. So back to the loop, you fight through stages, and with each stage the difficulty rating increases, enemies start doing more damage, there are more of them and whatnot. Because of this, runs do start off a little slow, but as you level up you can choose to start runs from higher difficulties and jump right in, so that's another cool little feature. After every few stages, you'll be able to trigger a boss battle. There are 4 bosses, a couple of them are a bit easier, a couple are a bit harder. It's also one of those deals where they get harder the later on you fight them, so by the time you get to the 3rd or 4th one, it's getting pretty tough. If you do manage to kill all 4 in a run, that's technically a completed run, and you can choose to end it, or you can keep going and keep looping as long as you like. So why would you want to keep looping? Well, other than testing yourself, there's a lot more to this game than the standard gameplay loop. There's a lot of progression, which is what I was kind of talking about when I said it can be more or less of a roguelike. So first things first, playing the game rewards you with XP and tickets, and naturally, the longer you go on a run, the more rewards you get. You use XP to basically unlock abilities and permanent upgrades for your character, and you use tickets to turn your swag up. Another cool thing is that there are microtransactions. You can spend real money on the cosmetics, but you really don't have to at all because you get so many tickets. It's really a breath of fresh air. Like, I think I already have enough tickets to get every piece of clothing. Back to progression, you've also got your weapon loadouts. So yeah, you really don't have to rely on loot at all. You can just bring any weapon you want into the run as long as you've leveled it up a bit. Each weapon has its own level, and as you use it more, you unlock skins for it, and it'll be a higher tier when you bring it into a run. But of course, if you want to stick to the base loadout and get the full roguelike experience, you can keep doing that too. Another reason you might want to keep going is the leaderboard. They've got full cross-platform leaderboards, so if grinding those is your kind of thing, I don't know, personally, looking at this, I think I might start hurting myself before I ever made it to 87 difficulty, but to each his own. And you might notice there are a lot of different tabs on the leaderboard. So yeah, the loop I talked about earlier is the main mode called Adventure, but there's also Horde, which has you going through endless stages, 10 waves at a time, and then there's a boss rush mode that you unlock after completing 5 adventure runs. And you also would have noticed on the leaderboard that you can play with up to 3 other players, so as I mentioned earlier, it is a co-op game, and I think this game would be a lot of fun co-op, because between the abilities and the weapons, there's definitely room for different styles. There's also a cool little feature that lets you play a little PvP match within your party whenever you get to one of these things at rest stops. I haven't been able to try it because I wasn't able to find any players, but it says it rewards the player who wins with some loot, so I think that's another really cool feature that you can screw around in the middle of a run killing your friends and get rewarded for it. But that's not all, because there's also a whole other fully PvP mode. It's basically a Fall Guys Mario Party type beat, up to 8 players, and you play through a rotation of party games as well as straight up death matches. Again, the matchmaking was a little rough and I was only able to get into a 1v1 and I kind of got my ass kicked, but even that was fun. Hopefully releasing on Steam can juice the player count a little bit because the matchmaking is pretty dead, but if you're looking for something to play with friends, I think this game has a lot to offer. And I mean playing alone too. I've already played for 10 hours, had lots of fun. I know I'm going to play a lot more. So that's that really. Let me know what you think if you're going to take a look at it. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed and I'll see you later.